I'm Herman De Vries. When I moved into this house, which was more than 30 years ago now, I decided I needed to make some furniture as well. And as I was making the furniture, my granddaughter was born, so I needed to make a crib, and my wife bought me a lathe. So I made a bunch of spindles, and I was kind of hooked on wood turning after that. I think I would probably prefer that people would pick up something that I made every day and use it and put their hands on it, because wood is meant to be touched and felt, not just looked at. At the club meeting a few months ago, there was a piece of wood laying at the door that somebody had brought, and they thought somebody might want it, and it was still laying there when I left, and I was one of the last ones to leave. And I said, "What's this piece of wood doing here?" And they said, "Nobody wants it." I said, "Are you crazy? That's apple, and it's full of wormholes." The worms had really, really riddled it with holes. And I said, "Man, I'll take that. I'll take that in a heartbeat," because the worms have already done the artwork in it. And I knew that about the wood. And I was the only one that saw that. Maybe because I've been at it quite a while. So inspiration comes from everywhere, absolutely everywhere. There's a pepper mill. It's at the art gallery, actually, that I made that was inspired by a YouTube video that I saw about a fellow that was restoring an ancient steel anvil. They used to make anvils in a kind of a upside down pyramid shape like that with a long tail on them. They drill a hole in the stump, and they stick the tail in the stump. They had the anvil, and they had a hammer in next to it. And he was restoring this old anvil and the old hammer. I looked at that and I thought, if I take two of those anvils and put them end to end, I'll get a shape that looks like this. Why couldn't that be a pepper mill? So I made a square shape like that, cut it on bandsaw, did some sanding, hollowed out the inside, and I created the hammerhead as the thing that you turn on top to grind the peppercorns. And people say, "That's really weird." Where'd that come from? I don't think people have enough appreciation for makers, for what it takes to make something with your hands entirely. There's no machine work involved with this, and there's no computers doing this. This is all hands, and this is what happens when you use your hands. You hurt yourself, and you ache when you're finished. And I can't explain all that to them, of course, at the time. Like I just stuck this on here. This was turned a long time ago, and even though it was dry,
you can see the little.
It's warped
at the edges there.
Like this is not finished yet.
No.
It's got tool marks, and the inside is not done.
No.
This is. I'm going to take this out of here because this does not feel good on the elbow when you hit it. It's got a very sharp point on it.
Ooh, yeah.
But this is the termite. See, it's a ring tool.
Ooh.
Of course, it's very sharp. But that's what I would use to hollow this out with. So, with my finger, I have to be careful.
Please do.
So that's how I would go about hollowing out the inside of this little bowl. Like if I was going to do the outside of this bowl now, I would be standing here. So, and of course, I'd be turning it quite a bit faster. This is the only piece that I've ever done any carving on. That piece of wood is ancient kauri. Comes from New Zealand. The fellow that did the article in the New Zealand Wood magazine is the one that sent me this, and he had it turned, but it wasn't finished. It was just rough turned. He said, Herman, you have to carve. You got to carve. So he sent me this, and he had written on the rim, he said, embellish this rim. So here I am sitting with this piece of 50,000-year-old wood, and it's from New Zealand, and I'm thinking, oh, what, you know, and he's an incredible carver. What am I going to do with this piece of wood? Well, what do we have in Manitoba that's, 50,000 years old? I couldn't think of anything. It sat around for 2 years, and he kept pressuring me. I know what we got in Manitoba that's 50,000 years old. Our bison. So I did this little tiny bison on the back of, on the side of it, with a little bit of green grass, and I said, now we've got a marriage between the history of Manitoba and the history of New Zealand. A person plays the violin to make beautiful music. A person paints to make beautiful pictures. I do wood turning to try to make objects of art and objects of usefulness, like pepper mills and bowls and stuff like that. And I think you do it because there's a satisfaction that comes out of making, because a part of you goes into every piece that you make.